Flyperbole, flip, Flyperbole. Flyperbole, flip, Flyperbole. Flyperbole, flip, Flyperbole.
Oh, baby. It's over. The season has finally ended. The 24-25 Flyers are no more. But you know what keeps on going? You know what keeps on rolling? As friend of the show, Fred Durst might say, that would be Flyperbole.
Oh, fuck, you just said my guess, so.
I had it all planned out, and you ruined it. No, I'm kidding. You didn't ruin shit. But yeah, guess what, folks? It's number 400. 400th podcast of Flyperbole. And, as Freddie Durst would say, we're going to keep on rolling, baby. And that's why I Dursted up to start the show. I've got the red backwards hat on. It's not the Yankees, though. Never the damn Yankees. Always the Phils.
400 episodes is crazy. Like, it does not feel like it's been... Like, obviously, I haven't been on all 400 of them, but, like, just the fact that there's 400 at all is wild. Like, the longevity of Flyperbole is unbelievable.
I refuse to go anywhere, and I probably should have many times at this point. The universe has told me a number of times, you should probably stop doing this. It's not worth it. The Flyers are trash. There's no point. But you know what? I enjoy nonsense and Flyers hockey just too damn much to go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm still here. And I love the game entirely too much. And, you know, I wore the Durst hat to start. I took it off because I can't look at myself in a fitted backwards hat for too long as a 40-year-old man, because 41 now, because it's just ridiculous, right? For some reason, the snapback works to a degree. It does look a little bit like Hello, Fellow Young People, but that is what it is. But for the fitted, for some reason, just feels like, what are you doing?
I'm getting to the point now where it's like I only wear my hats backwards if I'm like working out or going for a run or something like that. If I'm not doing any of those things, it's forward. It's got to be forward.
Concert, I might fuck with the backwards hat sometimes.
Maybe. If I'm sweating, if I'm at a show and I'm in the pit or whatever, backwards hat. A lot can go wrong if you leave it forward. You could lose the hat forever.
That's true. And the other situation, it was windy today, so I flipped the hat backwards when it's windy because you just have to. But yeah, I had the Durst red backwards hat to start. I got the 120th annual Trent Klatt Invitational T-shirt on, which beautiful. Is a way back Flyperbole joke right there. That was man, I can't even tell you what episode, but I think that was in the 100s or maybe even less when I titled an episode the 120th Trent Klatt Invitational, a fictional golf event, I guess hosted by former Flyers legend Trent Klatt, who I'm obsessed with because that name just rolls off the tongue in such a beautiful way. But yeah, that's one from the Wayback Machine. This is a 1-of-1 t-shirt right here that I had made up for myself for the first BSH draft party I attended. So that's what a psycho I am. But yeah, and there's one other way that we need to celebrate this, and it's not sadly a Bud Heavy because I have not been feeling great this week, and I don't think alcohol would be the best solution. So I came up with the second best thing here. And folks, I found a seltzer this week that is Guy Fieri's Flavor Town.
No fucking way. Let's go. This is perfect.
Waterloo Lemon Italian Ice, or as we would call it in Philadelphia, water ice. Guy Fieri's Flavor Town. So it's not bad. So that's what we're toasting with to 400 today. I'd prefer for an alcoholic beverage, but guess what? I don't want to push it. The tree pollens come in, wrecked my entire life, and whatever. I'm here. I'm podcasting number 400, end of the season. It worked out beautifully for the most part.
It really has. Yeah, the allergies have gotten to me too today. Luckily, they've kind of fucked off for now, so we'll see what happens. Good. I'm sure at the 30-minute mark, I'm going to start dying. That's just how it goes typically. But 400, man, 400 episodes of Flyperbole. Can't believe it, man. Like, it's crazy.
It's one of those things that makes me feel old, but at the same time, like, it's cool that we've been doing this so much and like I've kept doing it over the years. It's like, it is like a nice little, I guess thing to hang my coat on or hang my hat on or whatever the phrase is. But I wanted to thank a few people who've contributed to the podcast over the years. You, of course, my friend, love talking to you every week. It's always a pleasure. So thank you for all the hard work and all the nonsense you put up with from me every week. I truly appreciate it. Talking to you.
I mean, me as well, Steve. There is quite a little bit of, both of us are filled with nonsense. That's what makes this show special.
You can't do it without the nonsense because it would just be another Flyers hockey podcast like all the rest. So, but thanks to you, thanks to Hal Greenblatt, my first podcast co-host, who it's been a while since Hal and I podcasted, but he's who I got into this with, and we did 100 episodes of the Flyers Faithful podcast together, and it was a lot of podcasting we did, and we did a ton of playoff podcasting. It was a lot of fun. So, thanks to Hal, thanks to Kim Pollock, who I ran Flyers Faithful with for a while, and Kim's awesome. Did a bunch of podcasts with her. Marcello DeFeo, who I wouldn't be here without. Marcello's now part of the BSH family, so welcome to BSH, Marcello.
Yes. Yeah. Welcome to BSH, Marcello. Enjoy. Is it Marcello?
It's Marcello, yes. Marcello. I did the same thing, though. I called him Marcello for like a year, and then he's like, it's Marcello. And I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah. But welcome to the BSH family. I'm sure you're going to regret this decision.
Yeah. But he's also the one who dragged me into this in the first place. So it's all Marcello's fault that I'm here doing this right now.
Yeah, what goes around comes around.
Kelly Hinkle, of course, who is the head lady over at BSH, one of the great podcasters and a great friend. And, Kelly's the best.
Kelly rules. She's been doing a great job with honestly juggling both BSH and PHLY. Probably isn't easy. So
I can tell you it's not.
Yeah, not easy at all.
I can tell you now from experience that it's not, but it is fun.
I do not envy that at all.
No, I mean, it is fun. It's nice getting out there. Kurt R., of course, we can't say his last name for legal reasons, but Kurt's one of the best. I've done a ton of podcasts with Kurt. I got to get Kurt on here one day to talk with both of us, because Kurt has done some rollicking Flyperboles in the past, and Kurt's one of my favorite people to talk to on the show.
I love the idea of his last name just being the letter R.
Yeah.
Like, what if that's actually it, and he's just like fucking with everybody, and that's just kind of like his own joke that he plays?
That would be pretty funny.
Like, I'm sure I guess I still don't know his last name. So
oh, you don't know it? That's funny.
Yeah. It could just be R. So.
Well, that's like The Simpsons. Homer's wondering what his last name or his middle name is because he's Homer J. Simpson, and then he finds out it's J spelled Jay. So, there we go. That's as if you found out that Kurt R was just Kurt R. Steph Driver, of course, Steph is the reason I'm on BSH. So a big thanks to Steph. Done some great podcasts with her. And I had one with both of you where you almost derailed it entirely for wildlife talk one time.
For killer whale. Dude, and Steph was like down to do it. We were down to talk about killer whales for like forever. And it just didn't. You had to get us back on track, Steve. And I was really, really upset about that. But yeah, big shout out to Steph. Steph, of course, is is so quintessential to the lore of Broad Street hockey. So big Steph supporter and apologist.
There you go. No, and that's funny. The irony of me being the one to get a podcast back on track is insane to me since I derail podcasts constantly. That is my brand, is derailing podcasts. But yeah, Steph asked us to come over to BSH in the first place. And I very reluctantly joined because I didn't want to stop being weird. I thought somebody's going to try to make me not weird. And she said, no, I like the weirdness. Bring it over here. And I did. And it's been, it's been fantastic for me. So big thanks to Steph. Got to thank our former BSH compatriots, Bill Matz and Charlie O'Connor, who I, now talk to all the time on PHLY. But, I've done many podcasts with them now at this point over the years too. And, great guys, Bill and Charlie, two of the best in the business, just absolute pros all around.
Yeah, there's a reason why they have, this is their full-time gig. They're truly the best at it. And it's always fun to, see them at events or like for Charlie, I see him in the press box all the time. So it's great to see them all over the place and just absolutely killing it. Cause they're kind of running the game right now. So good on them. They're doing awesome work.
They're living the dream right there, and it's awesome. Thanks to Maddie Campbell, who I've done a bunch of these with, done a bunch of Phantoms podcasts with too over the years. Maddie's one of the best. I absolutely love talking to Maddie, and her knowledge about all the prospects and the kids coming up is just unmatched.
We should get her on to talk prospects.
Oh, before the draft? Absolutely.
We need it. I need it because I've done almost no research on anybody. And granted, we still got a couple months before the draft. But I can tell you right now, I'm probably not going to be doing the most research. I used to have a lot more time to do these things, Steve. I don't have that anymore. Full-time job now. So that tends to impact your ability to research hockey players. So
you don't have to tell me about that, my friend, as somebody who has.
You have school.
I have full-time job. I have grad school. I have PHLY now on top of that. I have this, obviously, and I've been doing a bunch of stuff with sketch comedy lately. So it's like,
oh wow,
wow, how about that? Come out to any of the shows you see, please. Motel Party, look us up. Fun. I'm not officially part, but I help out all the time. So, hey, plug, love a plug. Big thanks to just the BSH crew in general, and I wanted to shout out some of the people that we podcast with all the time: Ryan Gilbert, Italian Joe.
Italian
Joe, the Bean Man himself, the Bean Boy, Thomas, Jacob, the Fly guys, guys that we have talked to on these podcasts now and do a lot of hard work for us, and appreciate the whole crew. We've done a really good job, and shout out to Kyle too, because he's helped build up the YouTube content as much as it has. And if you're watching on YouTube, probably
you're doing good work.
A big part of that is everybody I just mentioned. So, like and subscribe if you're on there, please. Yes, please. But, thanks to, we got a great crew over there. One big shout out I wanted to give is somebody I haven't talked to in a minute, but I really, love this guy, Eamon Smith, who was a big fan of the show and then stepped in during some tough times and did a lot of podcasts with me. And it was really cool. I don't know what Eamon's up to right now. I haven't talked to him. Eamon, reach out to me if you hear this. But I'm sure it's something great because that kid has amazing hustle in him. And Eamon is just an awesome person to talk hockey with.
Isn't he still in the Slack?
I say he occasionally will pop in. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen him come in every once in a while. I think like there's a few people who randomly will just show up like in the BSH Slack every once in a while, like Eamon will show up or like Brad Keffer will show up sometimes. Who else will show?
Ben's my favorite one to pop in.
Ben just shows up.
When Ben just shows up, because it's usually when you summon him by mentioning Oscars Bartulis. Oscars the Bart. When you mention Oscars Bartulis, it's like saying Beetlejuice 3 times. Ben just appears.
Yeah. He always shows up and he'll literally just drop hey, and then quick, just one-liner and bounce, and then we don't see him in the Slack again for a year and a half. So, but it's fun.
It's very fun. I love when people randomly pop in. But Eamon, if you hear this, we miss you and hope you're doing great, my pal. Really enjoyed podcasting with you, especially during pandemic times over there. And then last, but absolutely friggin' not least, the goat of nonsense himself, Craig Forsyth, who there's not 400 Flyperboles. There's not Flyperbole without Craig Forsyth. Not at all. Because I was ready to give up after Flyers Faithful and Flyerdelphia. I came this close to not doing this anymore because I just was disenchanted by the whole experience there. So I was ready to give up. And then I would casually do some podcasts with Marcello and Craig for Pattison Avenue. And I rediscovered the joy of the game, and specifically the joy of doing this unhinged show that you have in front of you now. Craig and I would just get off into these just tangents, these absolutely insane tangents. If you go back and you listen to some of the pandemic episodes we did, we just go into places that you can't possibly explain. You can't figure out how we got there. And it was a special kind of weird magic. The one I always think of, there's one thing I always think of, and it's too much marinara. That's maybe my favorite conversation in the history of Flyperbole, when it was at the beginning of the show and Craig just is talking about getting too much marinara on his spaghetti. And I'm like, Is that a problem? And we just went off on this back and forth tangent forever about the marinara. And it was awesome. It was just so weird and great and perfect. And that was just the energy that he brought. Craig, I haven't talked to Craig in a long time, and it's a bummer, but last I checked with him, he's doing great. I hope he's still doing great. I love and miss you, Craig. And I hope you're doing fantastic, my friend. But there is no Flyperbole without Craig Forsyth. So, all the thanks in the world, all the gratitude in the world to Craig.
Long live Craig. Craig is a fucking legend. I know I've told you this. I don't know if I've said this on a show, but Flyperbole was paramount in me getting through the pandemic. Like absolutely paramount, because I had just moved back to the East Coast after living in Vegas for like a couple years, and just moved back. As soon as I moved back, pandemic starts. Like literally I moved back and then the pandemic begins, and I was in like a weird place in my life, and I feel like that time in particular was just a weird time for everyone. No one was in a good mental space at all. I wasn't, it was not the best of times at all. And so, every night I would stay up super late just playing, video games or whatever. And I would always, be sitting on the floor at the time I was living like with my parents before I found a new apartment. And I would just be sitting on the floor in like this like guest bedroom in their house and playing video games on the floor. And then I would have my phone next to me, and I would turn on Flyperbole, and I was like, sweet, this episode is 3.5 hours long. This is going to last me for so long. And so I would just like be playing video games, have Flyperbole playing. And it got me through the pandemic. I swear to God, it really did.
That's awesome, man. And thank you for sharing that. Like, that's one of those things that I have never been able to hear enough of is people connecting. One of the things that I found when we first started meeting people was a lot of people with like weird jobs really liked our show. Like people who were like machinists overnight or like working a late shift, like driving somewhere, would listen just because they enjoyed the back and forth. It just felt like a bar conversation between friends. And that's all I've ever wanted. That meant the world to me. But then the pandemic, because this show got me through the pandemic too. I think my wonderful partner, Emily, who, all the thanks in the world also, while we're giving thanks out to Emily and Brucey Boy here, who, frankly, I don't know what the hell I'm doing these days if I don't have Em and Bruce, right? But they're the best. They're the absolute best. And the thing is, with the pandemic, I think I would have driven Emily absolutely insane if I didn't get my energy out doing this show. I'm thankful for the companionship, but being able to talk to somebody 1 to 2 to sometimes 3 times a week about hockey, about the world, about Guy Fieri, about John Taffer and Fred Durst and Gritty. That was awesome. And that was everything for me. And it's really cool for me to hear that meant a lot to other people also, because sometimes you just feel like you're sending this out into the ether and you don't know that it makes a difference. So I've heard from a number of people that like those pandemic episodes were just the world to them. And that's like one of the coolest things I could hear, because that was such a tough time mentally for so many people. So many people were just struggling and looking for connection. So to be able to offer something is just like, what a cool feeling. So like, I appreciate you sharing that, my guy. Like that's really cool. That's,
I remember, like, it's weird because like, obviously the pandemic, no one looks back at it fondly, but those nights where I would be like, just sitting on the floor playing video games, listening to Flyperbole, I look at that very fondly. I remember I would be sitting there and I'd be playing like the remake of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I'd be playing Tony Hawk. I'd be playing The Last of Us Part 2. And I'd have Flyperbole on. And even though like the moment, like that time period, like literally that time in history sucked, there were like positive things to look back on. And that was one of those things, was listening to Flyperbole late at night until fucking 3 a.m. in the morning.
Some of my favorite moments from the show are from that period, especially the Flyperbole under quarantine episodes, or fuck as we like to call them around these parts,
Yeah.
FUQ. Those were some awesome episodes because we were focusing on one topic, and we did some special ones. Like I was listening to the one that we did with Bill, me, Craig, and Bill, where we were talking about what I called flyerish non-flyers, guys who were never flyers, but
Yeah.
it felt like they should have been. And that I listened back to that and I listened to the whole thing and I was laughing the whole time. Like it was a really, really fun episode. So some of my favorite episodes were during the pandemic. So yeah, obviously one of the worst things to happen in most of our lifetimes, but it was, I have some fond memories during those hard times, and it's mostly thanks to the show. So, and I think the biggest thanks goes to the people who do listen to this show, the Flypaniacs out there. Like every time I meet somebody who listens to this show, I'm always so touched by it, and it means a lot to me. So thank you to everybody who listens to this. Like this is my creative outlet. Like this show is like really important in my life. So yeah, thank you for listening. You guys are the best.
Just so you know, I'm pretty sure I told you this as well, but I don't know if I said this on the podcast. I remember a couple years ago, I was living in Richmond, Virginia, where I'm from, and I was working at like this insurance company, working this boring ass job. It was great company, loved the company, boring job. And I remember I would just be doing like, it was robotic work. And then one day, one of my colleagues who I'd never met messaged me. He's like, "Hey, do you know a website called Broad Street Hockey?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you know of a podcast called Flyperbole?" This is Richmond, Virginia, Steve.
Oh, there's a weird reach on the show sometimes.
Yeah. And so I was like, "Yeah, I'm on it." And he was like, "I thought that was you." And then he and I like kind of formed like a friendship. So every time I walked by his desk, we would talk about the Flyers for like 15, 20 minutes. It was the best. His name's Russell. I don't know if he's listening to this episode, but Russell, you fucking rule. I have his phone number. He's in my fantasy hockey league, which I just won, by the way. I went 17.
Mazel tov. There you go.
17-4. My team was fucking amazing. Russell's team was not as amazing, unfortunately. But Russell fucking rules. And it was just crazy that like at some random ass insurance company in Richmond, Virginia, like I got approached saying like, "Hey, aren't you on Flyperbole?" And I was like, it's nuts. It's crazy. It's just crazy that happens.
It's so cool. Like every time it happens, it's one of those things like, I don't know. It feels special. So, hey, you ever see me around? Like, yeah, introduce yourself. I'm very happy to say hello. I got to start carrying stickers around with me again. I got to get stickers printed. But listen, we got a couple months and then we're going to have a big old draft party, right? So that's the prime opportunity to get stickers printed up for.
I need some stickers too, because I'm out. So.
Oh, I'm going to print up a lot. I'm going to print up a whole mess. I'm going to get magnets too. I'm going to get a whole mess of everything.
Yeah,
the magnets rule.
Need the magnets.
I love the magnets. I love the stickers. I'm going to get it printed up for that draft party because you know what? It's going to be a big draft party this year, my friend. And
yes, it is.
We've had some big draft parties. The Michkov draft party in particular was a lot of fun because they got Matvei Michkov. But your Philadelphia Flyers, despite their best efforts, they accomplished the task. They were the tank commanders at the end of the day. They tried not to be. They really tried. They tried to squander it. They did a whole lot of winning when they shouldn't have down the stretch. But man, one stressful game with the Buffalo Sabres later. Your Philadelphia Flyers finished the 4th worst team in the NHL. And I'm so happy about it. Like that. Have you ever been more stressed hoping for the Flyers to lose a game or any Philadelphia team to lose a game?
I have not been that on the edge of my seat for a Flyers game since Game 7 against the Islanders in the bubble. That was 5 years ago. Like, Steve, it was, my heart was pounding. I felt like I just ran a marathon. It's just a shame because I was rooting for the other team. I didn't want the Flyers
Dude,
to win. Whenever the Flyers touched the puck, for example, I remember there was you remember kind of early in the game, Owen Tippett broke loose for a breakaway. And I was literally screaming at my TV, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you!" Like I was
doing that too.
I was so angry that whenever the Flyers did something good, and so yeah, it was just what a game, what an experience, a weird experience that was.
I know. I was like freaking out Bruce from getting so upset over this, and I felt bad, but it was like I was legitimately upset when they were scoring. I was hanging over my railing when I was watching the Eagles Rams game again. Like I was really like stressed out by this damn game, and it sucked because like we're talking about a thrilling game with the Sabres where Matvei Michkov scored 2 goals, almost got the Matt trick. He didn't get the Matt trick this year. He's going to get the Matt trick. It's going to happen. He might get a whole mess of them next year.
Yeah.
Because I am excited about this damn kid. But man, what a thrilling game that the Flyers really wanted to blow as far as winning. Like when they scored with less than a minute left, I was in agony. And going back to the Durstwell, it felt like the Sabres were winning for us because after their goals, they played Rollin Air Raid Vehicle, which I'm sitting there. I'm like, is that fucking Rollin? Are they playing Rollin? Is that our song right there? It sure as shit was. Also, shout out to Kelly Hinkle, who's a way bigger actual Limp Bizkit fan than I am. But like, I don't really even like Limp Bizkit that much. I just like to make fun of them. I have been talking about Durston on this podcast since day one because I think it's a funny thing. I don't enjoy them that much, but whatever. It doesn't matter. It felt like destiny, right? It felt like the Sabres after they got off to what was it, 3-0 or 4-0 in that game? I think it was 3-0, right? Or was it 2-1 and then 3-1?
Yeah, 2-1 then 3-1. Yeah.
But like the Flyers were insisting on staying in that game, and when they came within a goal with a minute left, because the thing is, the Flyers needed to lose in regulation. They could not get a point out of that game, or else they would have slipped to 6 or 7 in the. This is just the draft lottery. This isn't even where they're actually drafting.
Right.
Like we're talking about lottery. It's the big thing was getting all those lotto balls and also guaranteeing that they could only fall back so far. You know, the big thing about securing 4 is that means the lowest they could possibly draft is 6. Mm-hmm. And that's big.
Yeah. Like, listen, I know that like the difference between 6 and 8 isn't that big, but it's kind of big. You know what I mean? Like that's a big difference. And so, you know, if the Flyers finished, you know, with the 6th pick or the 6th best odds, I should say, and then they, you know, 2 teams pass over them in the lottery, they're picking 8th. Like that's not the best. For as awful as the Flyers really were this season, that would have sucked for them to have to pick 8th overall. And so now granted, like, listen, I understand they got Michkov at 7, like they could probably get a good player at 8 too, but like, I would rather them pick at 4 and then maybe even win the lottery. They'll have higher odds to, you know, get the 1st or 2nd pick.
Michkov was such a special circumstance too, because Michkov only slipped to 7 because people were freaked out by Russia. They were freaked out by everything that happened with Ivan Fedotov, that they didn't think they were ever going to get him over here. And also they, you know, heard that stuff about, oh, he's not a good teammate, blah, 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 which we now thankfully know is a complete and total fabrication, a total lie, because that locker room loves him. They were trying so hard to get him the hat trick last night. They really wanted that Matt trick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to see it too, because I do feel like Mike Michkov deserved a hat trick this season.
Shout out, by the way, to Steve from the Way Out of Here pod, who hit me up on Blue Sky and asked if we could start calling him Russian Mike, much in the Big Al and French Mike, which was Michel Therrien nickname. So I really liked Russian Mike, so we're totally taking Russian Mike.
I think Russian Mike's a great nickname for him.
Into it big time. But yeah, Russian Mike, like, the thing is, like, he's such a friggin' baller, a pucker, as I was saying the other day, a total pucker, mother pucker out there. He's a gamer, man. Like, he is one of the most competitive guys I've seen. TK had a great quote earlier today talking about how he wants to be the best. And he's like the first guy he's really played with that like wants to dominate like that, wants to be the best goal scorer in the league.
And that's what's crazy. Like, and he said, like, it's different from Giroux. Like Claude Giroux, like he was really intense. Like he would work, he was super intense at practice. He had a lot more like kind of like intensity to him. And that's not to say that Giroux didn't want to be the best. Like, of course, every player wants to be the best. But he said that basically Michkov is the first player he's played with in his entire career where he's like, no, I am the best.
Right.
Like he believes it.
He believes it.
He thinks it.
He absolutely thinks and believes he's the best. And that's so cool because with the Flyers, they usually get guys who are very, very good and very competitive, but they're never in the conversation for the very best. The closest we've had is Claude Giroux, who was robbed, of course, of the Hart Trophy back in, was it 17-18?
I think so. Yeah.
Taylor Hall,
season.
Felony fraud that year. Just an absolute atrocity. But Claude Giroux, and also there was, of course, the headlines when he beat Crosby in the playoffs, and they're like, well, the mantle's been taken by Claude Giroux. Yeah. Claude Giroux did have a great competitive fire in him, but there were only a couple times where it felt like Giroux really could have been the best of the best. Michkov, I don't know if he's ever going to have the points and be the very best in the league. I could very well see him be one of the top goal scorers, though, because he is so special in that regard. He did officially finish the year with the rookie lead in goals, which is awesome. 26, right? Just beating out, God, why am I forgetting friggin' the Sharks guy? Macklin Celebrini. How can I forget a weird name like that? I'm blaming allergies because I've had, one of the worst.
Me too. It's like consuming my brain cells today.
It's horrible. But he did officially beat out Celebrini, right? With 26, and Celebrini ended with 25.
For goals, yeah. So he's officially leading. He officially ended his rookie year leading all rookies in goals.
That's outstanding.
Amazing.
And for a team that we've been talking for years now about having another elite goal scorer, we had Wayne Simmons for a while. Wayne Simmons was a very good goal scorer, but he never could get to that 40 mark.
Yeah.
We haven't had a guy.
He also wasn't the kind of guy who was going to be like ripping shots past goal. Like the way that he scored goals, his
dirty
goal totals were more circumstantial than they were like skill. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that he didn't have skill. He absolutely did. We saw him do it all the time. But like, because playing in tight in the paint and sneaking the puck by goalie, like that's tough. Like you have to be very skilled to do that. But like he had a lot of deflections and stuff like that. He wasn't someone who was just gonna fucking Ovechkin, you know what I mean? Line up at this face-off circle and blast one past the goalie. He never really did that. That wasn't really his game.
What's interesting is when you think about the best goal scorer I've watched in my lifetime in a Flyers uniform is John LeClair. And John LeClair did it both by blasting slap shots and doing it that Wayne Simmons style by crowding the crease, screening the goaltender, and scoring those dirty goals. I mean, John LeClair scored through the side of the net one time, for God's sake. That was the kind of player John LeClair was. But Michkov is interesting in that he does get to the dirty areas, but he's not a big physical guy. Like he's not crowding the goaltender. He's more hanging out to the sides. Like he's real sneaky around the net, and he's got a shot. That first goal in the last game against Buffalo was just beautiful. He just ripped that shot top shelf where the cookie jar is, or where Mama keeps the cookies. And Craig would call it roof daddy is what he'd say.
Yeah.
So he went roof daddy on that goal, and it was beautiful. And that's the thing, is like, he's such a high skill player. He can do that. He's going to hit that Michigan. He can do it all. And he really is a special player that I truly believe is going to get 40 plus in a Philadelphia Flyers uniform.
I think so. I certainly think so. And honestly, I think the first moment where I realized, like, I always knew and I always expected him to join the Flyers and show off his high-end skill and his offensive talent. But like, I think the first time where I saw it in a game and I was like, oh, this is different was the early on in the season. I think it was like their third game of the year against the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton. And Michkov just had he blasted a shot past, I think it was Stuart Skinner, from like a weird angle too. And that to me, that's like a goal scorer's goal. You know what I mean? Where it's like, damn, like, what can you do? That was just an amazing shot and by an amazing player. And when I saw that goal, I remember I was like, wow, this dude is not a normal rookie at all.
Unreal. One of the best rookie seasons since Michael Renberg is what it ended up going down as for the Flyers.
Yeah.
63 points in 80 games played. Never played this many games in his life. So you could see the fatigue sometimes, but the fact that he still ended up with 63 points, 26 goals, 37 assists, ended up leading the Flyers in goals too. Tyson Foerster just behind with 25. He's a special player. He's unreal. And we are so lucky to have him. And this changes the outlook. I saw a really grumpy post from a beat writer. This is going to be a low key taking it to the beats here. Taking it to the beats. We got to hit all the hits today. We got to take them through. I might even get a John Taffer out of the way by the end of the show. But anyway, I saw a really grumpy post from one of the writers earlier talking about just like what a failure this season was for the Flyers and everything. But I can't think of this like a failure. They're ending up with the 4th best draft lottery odds. They've got a 9.5% chance at the top pick right now, which is awesome. They're going to pick 6th at lowest. That also doesn't include the fact that they have 2 first-round picks beyond that. They have 3 first-round picks overall. That's pretty damn nice for a team that's rebuilding. So they failed, but also outside of the power play and the goaltending, this actually was a pretty good team. Their defense was pretty solid for the most part. Matvei Michkov had an unbelievable year for a rookie. Travis Konechny had the best year of his entire career so far. And, Tyson Foerster came on so strong at the end and actually showed you the goal-scoring prowess that you were kind of promised when you heard about how great his shot was. Noah Cates was rock solid. Bobby Brink took a great step forward this year.
That whole line, the Cates line.
We got to come up with a good name for the Cates line, by the way. There's not a good name for them right now. I think we need a good name because I think they're going to stay together for a while.
Yeah. But this season was only a failure if you were actually expecting them to be competitive. I don't think a lot of people were actually expecting them to be competitive. I don't think that was the right expectation to have coming into the season. Like if you came into this season thinking, okay, this Flyers team should compete for a playoff spot, like I understand last season they did, but like this team was not the same team as last season. Like they didn't have a Sean Walker around, and I know that Sean Walker isn't some sort of Norris contending defenseman, but like he really rounded out the back end and they didn't have him this year. And then, it just seems like this season just felt different in terms of this was more of a tank season. I don't want to say tank because they didn't really tank. They just, they didn't really, Danny Briere didn't go all out to try and like reach the playoffs. You know what I mean? And so for that reason, like you look at this team and it's like, damn, like the number one things to look out for this entire season to me, and I think for a lot of people, was how's Michkov doing? How the young kid's doing, but mainly how's Michkov doing? Let's see him perform well. The fact that he performed well and the fact that a lot of the young kids on the team, they stepped up, that to me is a success. Does that make the entire team and the entire 2024-25 Flyers a successful team? Not necessarily, but like there are successful aspects to this season. And I think that's the silver lining. That's the way to look at it.
I think it was a great evaluation season too. Like
yes.
You can see like what you have to build around moving forward. You can see that, Sean Couturier is not completely dead. Sean Couturier can still contribute to this team. And when you put him together with Matvei Michkov, good stuff happened. You put smart players together, good stuff happened. Sean Couturier ended up 3rd on the team in points with 45, 15 goals, 30 assists. He played 79 games. For a guy with a broken back that we were all concerned about, that's actually a pretty nice year. It's not a $7+ million a season player year, but who gives a shit? Like, you're stuck with the contract. You want him to play well. So he's like your only true center on the roster right now, too. Noah Cates did a nice job at center, but I wouldn't call him a true center.
It certainly feels like he wants to be a true center, like at least from his exit interview. That's what he was insinuating. He said it would feel, quote unquote, weird to go back to the wing. So The thing with Cates though is that like he could be a good center. I feel like he just needs to work on face-offs. Like once he gets that figured out, then I think he'll. I don't want to say that'll change everything, but like I think that'll be really nice.
Re-sign Claude Giroux for a year or two just to teach Noah Cates face-offs.
Just the face-offs, yeah. But see, that's the thing. Like face-offs are a teachable thing. You know what I mean? It's not like this thing where it's just like, oh my God, this guy's so good at it. Like it's just a natural gift. Like anyone can learn how to be good at a face-off. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's teachable and you can learn that. And I'm not really worried about Noah Cates. I feel like he should stick at center for that reason.
Well, what I like about Noah Cates at center is the defensive play, the defensive responsibility, and the fact that his line was a shutdown line in many games. Him and Tyson Foerster are fantastic defensive players together. So to see that is inspirational. Like you actually have really good stuff to work with there. To see Bobby Brink take a step forward in his playmaking ability and his point scoring. He finishes with 41 points in 79 games, 12 goals, 29 assists. And I feel like that's not even representative of his play because I feel like Bobby Brink was never quite the defensive liability this year that he had been in the past year. And he just felt like a more rock solid player for this team.
Bobby Brink, I thought he was very deserving of the, oh Jesus. Oh God.
I got it right here on the sheet, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is Bobby Brink won the Pelle Lindbergh Memorial Trophy for Most Improved. And
there we go.
I do agree.
He deserved it.
I think he deserved it. Absolutely. Real quick on those awards. So Flyers gave out their awards. They always have their awards. We have our awards that we're going to get to shortly, which I'm excited about. Bobby Clark Trophy for Team MVP went to Travis Konechny. The Barry Ashby Trophy for Team Best Defenseman went to Travis Sanheim. The Pelle Lindbergh Memorial Trophy for Most Improved went to Bobby Brink. The Yannick Dupree Memorial Award for Class Guy went to Travis Sanheim. The Gene Hart Memorial Award for Most Heart went to Noah Cates. The Flyers Alumni Community Leadership Award went to Gary Garnett Hathaway. And the Toyota Cup for the most post-game 3 stars votes went to Matvei Michkov.
For a moment there, I really wondered if Michkov was going to get the Bobby Clark. I knew it was going to go to Konechny, but I think
he probably got some votes. I think he got some votes.
I think so. Like the way that he finished the season and the way that Konechny finished the season, like not great.
Not great. And it's funny that TK admitted to running a little too hard just to get into the Four Nations tournament. And he actually admitted, I think, that he said that this wouldn't be acceptable if they were expected to make the playoffs, which if you want a clear sign they were tanking, it's him being like, well, we weren't going to make the playoffs anyway, so I might as well have gotten into something that mattered.
Exactly. No, I mean, great point. Yeah. I mean, even he didn't expect this team to go, to amount to much, and he played as such. So, yeah, but Bobby Brink, Pelle Lindbergh, good for him. He deserved it. I have been blown away at his growth from, year 1 to year 2. Really, really excited for him. And I can't wait to see what he turns into. I know we've spoken about Bobby Brink a lot about, what is his place with the Flyers in the future? Will he be on the next good Flyers team? I think that is a fucking absolutely he will be. Absolutely he will be. I really, truly believe that. I think he is, we talk about it all the time. He's got the really, really good creativity, excellent offensive skill. And now we're seeing that he's competent defensively. Like that's all we needed. You know what I mean? And so I'm a huge Bobby Brink fan. Really, really excited to see his development kind of turning out this way.
Yeah. We love the Brinkster around these parts, and we're very happy that Bobby Brink is coming out on top this year. One guy, though, I think you've got 3 guys to get looked to as disappointments this season. Owen Tippett, I want to see what he's like with a better center crew with him, because Owen Tippett's got all the physical skills. It's just a matter of putting it all together. We're going to talk a lot about Owen Tippett this offseason, so I don't want to focus too much on him. Cam York's an interesting one because he wasn't bad necessarily, but we expected him to take a step forward. He's going to have an interesting RFA discussion. The big discovery this year is Sam Ersson, because we wanted to find out, is Sam Ersson a potential starter for this team for the next 3-4 years? And I think we found out this year that the answer is probably not. I think he could share the load with somebody. He's not your number one. He's not a go-to guy in this position.
I really did have hope that he could be. I remember coming into the season feeling cautiously optimistic that he could be a number one goalie. That did not happen, obviously. And it's a shame because like we saw him play so well throughout the 23-24 season. I know he like at the end he took a nosedive, but he was gassed. He was absolutely exhausted. So I
was willing to write that off because of everything that happened with Hart. You know, he didn't expect to be the starter.
Yeah, exactly. So like coming into this season, I was like, you know what? He's coming in knowing he's going to be the starter. You know, he knows he's going to get a lot more playing time, and I'm sure they're not going to run him into the ground like they did last season. And then he could just never play consistently throughout the year. It's just, you know, he would have a couple of week stretches where he was great, and then he would have a month-long stretch where he was horrible. And it was disappointing. But I'll say this: Sam Ersson is an NHL goalie. He's not an NHL starting goalie. He's I think optimally he's probably at this point, based off of what we've seen, he's a backup, and that's okay. Like we need backups, but like if you know people are thinking or you know being disillusioned into thinking that you know he's somehow going to be the starter for you know the long term, that's incorrect.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that was one thing we discovered this year, and that's an important thing to find out. Because if he was a diamond in the rough, if he was like a guy who's going to start for this team for a few years, that's really important because you've got guys in the system right now that could be the guy in a few years. You know, you've got Igor Zavragin, who it's going to be a few years before we see him. You know, it's going to be at least like 2 years. So Zavragin's a guy who put up great numbers overseas. Very exciting to talk about. It's gonna be a while until he comes up. More immediate guy who we at least can get some professional experience or professional looked at soon, Carson Bjarnason, who is now with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. I almost called them the Philadelphia Phantoms. I wish they were Philadelphia Phantoms. I'd be at every game if they were. Yeah. But the Phantoms actually have a couple interesting guys right now. So Carson Bjarnason's with them right now. I don't think, did Devin Kaplan get sent down there or did he just play that one game with the Flyers?
Devin Kaplan played the one game with the Flyers, and then I believe I actually don't think he did get sent back down.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about that. I heard that
Emil Andre went down. Yeah.
Emil Andre's been loaned to the Phantoms, and Alex Bump is going to play with the Phantoms in the playoffs, which is really cool. People are very excited about Bump with his play with the champion Western Michigan team. So some exciting stuff there. But, you know, Carson Bjarnason is a guy that I'm super intrigued by. Had a pretty solid season for the Wheat Kings, put up a .913 save percentage there. So he's a potential option, but he's very young also. So I don't know if he's a guy that is going to be immediate enough to really meet the needs. So you're looking at like three guys we all saw this season: Ersson, Fedotov, who was kind of a disaster, and Kolosov, who also was frankly a disaster in his own right, but with more teachable skills.
And he wasn't, I feel like Kolosov just was not ready. He thought he was ready. He was not ready.
Yep.
Ivan Fedotov, age-wise, he should have been ready. He's just not an NHL goalie. That's just flat out what the situation is.
But now we know. Now we know with all these guys, and we have a pretty good idea. And Kolosov's going to need some seasoning before we even see something. And will he even have the patience for that seasoning is a big question. So I think what the Flyers have discovered, if they want to take a step forward next year, if they want to be a little bit more competitive and push for a playoff spot, which they absolutely can. They were not like horrifically far away from the rest of the pack, but it's going to be a big offseason in a lot of regards. And goaltending, I think, is one of the biggest pain points for this team besides the power play. So I really think the Flyers are probably going to try and get somebody a little bit more seasoned. Alex Lyon's a name I keep hearing out there. I'm sure there's a bunch of other names, but I would not be surprised to see the Flyers get a seasoned goalie to share the load with Sam Ersson this season.
I think they have to. Because now this is 2 years in a row where now granted, the 2023-24 Flyers, they didn't necessarily know that Sam Ersson was going to have to be their number one, but that's what happened. And then this year it was the full season. It was like, all right, we're giving you the reins, Sam Ersson. Let's see how you do. And your backup is going to be Ivan Fedotov, who his stock went up super high with his playing the KHL, of course, but then the Olympics, he balled out and people were like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. And then of course the whole thing with the Russian military happened, but they tried it out. It didn't work. Fine, whatever. Wash your hands, forget it. Just like move on and, find yourself another goalie. One thing they absolutely cannot do is come back next season with Ersson and Fedotov again and just be like, well, we think Ersson can be better. No, you have to do something different. You cannot do this again next year.
Yeah, so this was an important year for finding a lot of stuff out. But ultimately, I feel like the future is very bright. A lot is going to come down to the draft, and that includes both who they draft and what kind of deals they might make. There's going to be some RFA talk in the coming weeks. There's going to be a lot of trade talk coming in the coming weeks. I'm actually looking at the sheet. We have a lot of stuff that we're going to have to just spread out to the coming weeks to talk about. So that's a good problem to have. That's an embarrassment of riches right there. I'm very happy for all this tangy tent for the people. I would like to move on very quickly to talk about our own awards, the Flype awards that we give out. Usually there's just a couple of there. I changed it up slightly this year, and I want to give it an official name. I'd love to even make up some trophies for next year, but I'd like to give out what I'm calling the Flypies this year. Okay, so the Flyperbole Awards is an annual tradition. The Flyers have their awards, and then Flyperbole has our own. And I wanted to just, since it's the 400th show, and I'm giving some love to the old Craigster here, I found a sheet from an old Craig episode with some of the Craig award names. Let me read some of these to you. The Hal Gill Honda Civic banner, which is for most likely to get burned to the outside.
That's a good one. I just love that it's the banner.
Yeah, the banner.
It's the banner, and it's amazing. It sounds like it would actually be an award or like something that they would give out on like the NBC Sports Philly like broadcast.
Oh, sure does.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah. And
the Honda Civic banner goes to Garnet Hathaway for his side-swiped hit on someone. You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny.
Absolutely. The Braden Coburn Bennigan's Bowl, which I don't even know. He gave it to Corbin Knight that year, which is it's the most likely Flyer to score on the Flyers. Oh, man. The Michael Neuwirth Patient First Gown, most likely to get hurt on or off the ice. It went to Michael Neuwirth that year. And the Curtis Foster The People Forget Trophy, Flyers D-Man most likely to be forgotten. And I decided if we gave that one out this year, it'd go to Eric Johnson because I forgot he was on the team.
I forgot he was on the team too. I forgot that he was I didn't realize I knew he was on the team in the back of my head, but I hadn't thought about it until I saw he drew into the lineup and I was like, oh shit, it's Eric Johnson.
Yeah.
I thought I was never going to see him again. So I just acted like he wasn't around. You know who else could get that award, Steve? One Ryan Johansson.
Yeah, I forget he's technically a Flyer. I mean, him and Ryan Ellis are just hanging out having mojitos somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. And Ryan Johansson still hasn't had his arbitration case settled, right? For the Flyers trying to terminate his contract.
Not to my knowledge.
Well, it's I don't even know what to say, but Kurt Overhart's somewhere. I don't know what the hell Kurt Overhart's doing because that's all his fault. But there's a lot of things that are wrong with the Flyers that are his fault right now. Screw that guy. All right, so let's go to this year's awards. So we have our annual Mike Richards / Claude Giroux award for bad leadership. That's going to Sean Couturier. A good leader would have made the playoffs. Sean Couturier is a bad leader.
Awful leader. Terrible leader. He's such a bad leader that John Tortorella, a great coach, historically great coach, loved by many, couldn't even put up with him. That's how bad a leader Sean Couturier is.
By the way, I'd really like in the coming weeks to get into some of those Sean Couturier quotes on John Tortorella because those were some interesting ones.
He did not like Torts, dog. Honestly, if there's one thing I learned from today, a lot of and I knew a lot of players didn't really like Torts, but there were a lot of players who really didn't like hearing them say it today. And a couple of players who I wasn't really expecting to kind of, say something. They said something. And
who's the most surprising for you?
Well, I mean, the one that stood out to me, and I guess it's because, overall he's just not that important a player. Nick Delorier came out and kind of said like, yeah, we had a lot of arguments, some good, some bad, and, basically he kind of insinuated that like, the arguments they had weren't always productive.
Yikes.
So like, I just thought that was interesting, like it seems like he really, really ruffled a lot of feathers. And like, I mean, we haven't heard even half the team hasn't even spoken yet. We haven't heard Bobby Brink talk. It's going to be interesting to hear if he says anything. Although typically I feel like Brink he doesn't really say much. He's kind of like Tyson Foerster and Noah Cates in that way. I feel like of those three,
that whole line,
that whole line, out of that line, Noah Cates is the most talkative one, which is funny because he doesn't reveal shit. So, yeah, Tyson Foerster and Noah Cates, they didn't really say too much about Torts, but
Noah Cates and his band of adult children that he plays with.
Yeah. But it's interesting. Like it just seems like a lot of players didn't really like him.
What a shame to see him go. We're all missing him so much right now. Oh man. Next up, my favorite annual award, and I don't actually know if we can give it out this year. The Andrew McDonald Award for being a great guy, but a terrible defenseman. Typically, there's an easy slam dunk on the team. I don't know if there is one this year. Eric Johnson might get it, but Eric Johnson wasn't even that terrible when he was in there. He was just old.
Right, yeah. He wasn't good, but I guess you can give it to Zamula.
Right, you can maybe give it to Zamula, but even Zamula had some horrible nights, but overall,
he's not
he wasn't AMAC.
Yeah. Like he had Zamula, when he has a bad night, it's a bad night. But I feel like a lot of the times he just is there and kind of nondescript. He doesn't really do anything to stand out. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. So that's a tough award to give out for this year.
Yeah, it's normally an easy one. This year, it's a really hard one. Yeah. Next up, my favorite award, the Romaldo Award for being the only guy on this team with heart. And of course, that goes to Nick Delorier. Who else has heart besides D'Lo? He's the only one who's going to smash somebody in the board's face first if somebody hurts Michkov.
Nick Seeler.
It could be Nick Seeler, too. It could be. Maybe they share it. They share. I think it has to go to a guy who fights more.
What are you talking about?
You got to fight to get the Romaldo Award.
He will fight.
He doesn't fight enough.
He doesn't fight a ton, but
you need to fight all the time if you win the Romaldo.
Yeah.
This is the Romaldo Award. Okay, it doesn't go to a good player.
Yeah, you're right. This is a terrific point. So
I mean, he did have a career high with 2 goals this year, but
it's
not his career high, by the way. I know. Don't at me.
That being said, then yes, it should go to Nick Delorier because Nick Seeler is not he's a good player, not in a way that casual fans would think he's a good player, but he's a good player.
Watch the game, nerds.
Watch the game, you nerds. Yeah,
friggin' nerds.
Bad player. Another thing about Nick Delorier, just something I admire about him. He's the most self-aware player in the entire NHL. You
gotta love it.
He's very, very. He's not oblivious to the fact that he is the least skilled player on the team, and it's very funny, and he owns it, and that's why he's awesome. So
you gotta respect it, and I respect that about him. So the Romaldo Award, which again, that's named after. It's for Zach Ronaldo, okay? Yeah. But there's a very, very old Flyers meme at this point where somebody called him Romaldo in a Facebook comment. And they said, there's only one player on this team with heart, Romaldo. That's it. And we decided that his name was Zeke Romaldo. And I wrote a whole post about it back on the flyperbole.wordpress.com site back in the day. But yeah, that's out there. But yeah, the old Flyperbole site's got the legend of Zeke Romaldo up there, but that's just Zach Ronaldo at the end of the day, who was a terrible hockey player, but he hit guys really hard and he fought a ton. So there you go. The Steve Mason Award for not being blamed if he fled the country to avoid playing behind the Flyers defense. Nobody gets it this year because the goaltenders were trash. Not even you, Sam.
Just so we know, just to the bet, now that we're back on the goalies, I want to make sure that I call attention to this tweet by moneypuck.com, which personally, if you're looking for goalie stats, I think MoneyPuck is the best source of goalie statistics, advanced goalie statistics. The worst goalies of the NHL regular season, they listed the top 20. All 3 of the Flyers goalies were in that list. And guess who was number one?
Was it Sammy Erson?
It was Sam Ersson.
Oh no, the son of heirs, he has fallen.
He had negative 19.9 goals saved above expected.
That's just fucking awesome. You know what?
Yeah.
If you're going to be the worst at something, be the absolute worst.
Ivan Fedotov had negative 13.6 goals saved above expected. And then Alexei Kolosov had negative 9.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's just inspirational play right there from the netminders for your Philadelphia Hockey Flyers. So yeah, no one wins the Steve Mason Award this year. Now on to some new awards this year. I'm very excited for the new ones. They're all very Flype based right here. So first up, we got the Cole Beasley Sorry Not Sorry Award for being horrible and not being apologetic about it. That goes to Alexei Kolosov because Alexei Kolosov was hot, fried dog turds this year, and he would not acknowledge it. He didn't give a shit.
I mean, not at all. I think, there's a very good chance that he may have forced himself out of Philadelphia. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be back next season because it seemed like he didn't really want to be here this year, even though he came over and all that. I don't know.
2/3 of the Flyers goaltenders this season might be playing in the KHL next season.
Yeah. Yeah. Which honestly, fine. Go ahead.
That's fine. Go ahead. We won't miss you.
Yeah, not at all.
Guess what? We have like 1 billion draft picks this year. We'll just draft a new prospect from the KHL. It'll be fun.
Dude, yeah. The best approach for goalies, just draft one goalie every year. Every year. Doesn't matter if you have a full pipeline, just keep drafting goalies.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll just find
it's such a crapshoot that you might as well try them out, which is why I was fine using this year, which was already, kind of a tank year, to just try these guys out and see what stuck. And guess what? None of them really stuck, but Sam Erson's clearly the most talented of the bunch. All right, next up, we got the Durst Trophy, which is a bronze backwards hat. And that's for the player who most exemplifies the Rollin air raid vehicle break stuff lifestyle. And that's Matvei Michkov. Matvei Michkov, a true baller, amazing Instagram, always just posting weird, funny pictures in weird, funny places with his Russian buddies.
He and Igor Zamula were at the Phillies game tonight.
Is that right? They the Phils, I think, crushed tonight. I think they were up 7-2 last I checked.
They beat the Marlins.
Talking about the fight, and said, but even outside of his Instagram, Michkov is just a badass on the ice. Like, we were talking about how he wants to be the best goal scorer in the league. We were talking about we've been talking all year about how he doesn't back down from anyone. He gets in guys' faces. He does not give a shit. He is like Tyler Durden levels of getting punched in the face and laughing at them. He's friggin' awesome.
He punched Macklin Celebrini in the face, which was funny as shit.
He should win the Calder for that alone.
Yeah. I think we all know at this point, Calder's definitely going to Lane Hudson. But for that, I think Michkov should be voted second because he punched Celebrini in the face.
I think so. Yeah.
He inflicted he asserted his dominance over him by doing that. So,
well, he's not going to win the Calder, but he's going to win the Durst. So he's got that going,
which is more valuable anyway. So
it's true. It's true. The Donkey Sauce Award for the player who needs the most donkey sauce, which means they need the most help out there. That's Ivan Fedotov. Ivan Fedotov is out there breakdancing. He's out there trying to just figure out how a puck doesn't go in the net behind him. He's trying to figure out how to work with an NHL defense. He has no idea what's going on, and he's almost 30, which I think we can all relate to that, as people who didn't get their shit together. I still don't have my shit together, and I'm 40, but, I think we can relate to the energy, but it's not what you want to see from an NHL goaltender.
It literally looks like someone who just started playing goalie in net. You know what I mean? Like, he's been playing goalie, I would presume, his whole life. And he looks like he's literally, he does. He looks like he's breakdancing. It's crazy. And then he's dropping his goddamn stick, throwing it all over the goddamn place. He doesn't know what he's doing. Like, what are you doing, dude? It doesn't make sense watching him play goals. So, he needs a lot of donkey sauce. He needs a lot of help. I think hopefully this offseason he gets it in the KHL.
Now, Quigley, before this last one, I want this last one to be the last one. I asked you earlier if you could come up with an award and a player. Did you accomplish the task?
I did. So
yes.
The award that I have come up with is the John Taffer Shut It Down Award, Steve.
Oh my God. I was just thinking we should have had a John Taffer Shut It Down award. That's friggin' awesome. Shut it down!
I fucking got you. And the John Taffer Shut It Down Award, the trophy itself, is a half-drank pint of Bud Heavy.
Yes! 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 Yes!
And it's flat. The Bud Heavy is very flat.
Which means that John Taffer is going to shut that bar down.
He's going to shut that shit down. And do you know who this award goes to? It goes to the player most likely to shut down players on the other team. This could be a forward. It could be a defenseman. It could be a goalie. Who's to say? I can tell you right now, it's not going to a goalie. I'm sure you're stunned to learn that because they're not shutting anyone down.
No, they're only themselves.
That's right. Steve, I think my selection may surprise you.
I'm on the edge of my seat, my friend.
1, Noah Cates.
Noah Cates! Catesy gets the Shut It Down award.
He was the shutdown line. That line was the shutdown line. It became the most effective line that the Flyers kept together all season long. Well, not all season long, but like they kept it together. Once it formed, it kind of stuck together. And for a head coach like John Tortorella, where he's constantly fucking with the lines and tossing everybody around like a goddamn salad, for them to stick around, that's very impressive, I think. They have something, I was going to say special. I don't want to say they have something special going on, but they certainly have very good chemistry, and I'm excited to see if that line sticks around going into next season. I think it should.
One could say that Noah's Ark was keeping the Flyers afloat there.
Well done, Steve.
Maybe Noah's Ark. Maybe that's the name of the line right there.
Maybe.
And you know what? This seems like a good opportunity before we get to our final award and then kind of wind down for the night. But you know what? An old Flype classic here. John Taffer, I think, should address the team real quick. So let's slick back my hair and get into the Taffer mode here. Listen, Flyers, you've disappointed everybody. You disappointed your father over there, John Tortorella. He's super disappointed in you. Matvei Michkov, he's doing everything for you. And you're not going to make the playoffs. 60-plus points as a rookie. This is what you do to him. Shut it down.
Excellent.
What a madman.
I thought you were John Taffer for a second there.
I felt like my hairline was receding and I opened up bars with robots in the 80s. That's how I felt. But
your eyes bugging out like John Taffer's eyes.
And I brought in the third best bartender from TGI Fridays to coach everybody. That's always my favorite part. It's like he's got the number 2 bartending competition winner from TGI Fridays. That's like teaching these people how to competently bartend. It's freaking awesome. You gotta shake and smile.
Yeah,
that was not safe for work. What I just did.
I was gonna say to teach the. There's always that narrator in Bar Rescue 2. To train the bartenders, John brought in one of the best bartender mixologists in the entire world. And then it's like, if there was like a ranking, they were like probably like the 1,000th best. But
yeah, absolutely.
Technically, that's one of the best. So
to tank the Flyers, Brad Shaw brought in one of the 3 worst goaltenders in the world, Alexei Kolosov.
That's exactly what it is. Oh, that's perfect. That's so fucking
fantastic. Good. Excellent work, Quigley. I'm very proud of you with the Shut It Down award. That is beautiful work right there. That brings us to our final award of the night, the Golden Our Friend the Rat Award for our favorite Flyer. Not necessarily the best, okay? We're going to give this award out every year now, and it's not necessarily the best Flyer. It's just going to our favorite Flyer, okay? Whoever we just love the most. Who else could it go to this year except Matvei Michkov? Matvei Michkov has changed our lives. Yep. He made this horrible season where the Flyers finished 4th worst, okay? We are speaking glowingly about a team that was the 4th worst in the NHL. They had the 3rd least regulation wins in the entire league, which is why they easily won the tiebreaker with the Kraken and the Bruins. This team sucked hard, but because of Matvei Michkov, because he was so fun and so dynamic and so just like exciting, I actually feel great about this season.
We talked about this before. He gives Flyers fans a semblance of hope. Flyers fans are feeling positive about the future because Michkov exists, because he's a Flyer. And I think that goes such a long way. And for that, like, you talk to any like hardcore Flyers fan, he's everyone's favorite Flyer. He's your favorite Flyer's favorite Flyer. Like, he's the best. The way everyone's talking about him, everyone, like, my God, people can't even contain themselves. So he's absolutely the most deserving for the Golden Our Friend the Rat Award. I hope he puts it on his Russian mantle and he savors it for the rest of eternity.
Matvei, if you really want an Our Friend the Rat Award, hit me up, slide in the DMs on Blue Sky, okay? Or Instagram. You're on Instagram a lot. Slide into the Flyperbole DMs on Instagram. I will spare no expense to get this made for you, okay? Because you're the best. And here's the thing, is Matvei Michkov most exemplifies the core values of our friend. Fierce, hungry, and scrappy. All three.
It's very true. Yeah.
It's very true. So the Golden Our Friend goes to Matvei Michkov. Thanks to everybody. I'm sorry I didn't wear a tuxedo, but it is at the dry cleaners at the moment.
Next year we'll do a whole thing.
Last thing I wanted to discuss, and this is going to be brief because we're at an hour and it's Friday night, and I guess we got to discuss the playoffs very quickly too. But real quick, the Flyers, we're going to talk a lot about the draft options next week because we're going to have months of talking about the draft options. Yeah. But there was news this week I saw from Kevin Kurz over The Athletic that the Flyers are going to be drafting from Atlantic City because it's a decentralized draft this year. What a strange choice. So Danny and the boys just going ham afterwards?
Yeah, like, why don't they just do it from, like, Voorhees?
Or just do it from Center City. Go hit up, like, one of the quality establishments, like
throw
AC.
a draft party. Do it from the Farg. Like, throw a big draft party or something. Like, I don't know, Or like, you know what? If they want to go to a casino, just do it at Live Casino.
Live Casino. It's right there. Come on. It's right by the Farg. I don't know. It seems like a long way to go. And AC is a weird place, man. Like, are they expecting to be depressed and they just want to be extra depressed afterwards? I don't know, but I hope they're not expecting to be depressed. This is a very exciting draft.
Yeah. It should be an exciting draft unless they're expecting to trade all their picks away for the superstar top line center.
Well, that's actually pretty damn exciting in and of itself. And that's something I'm excited to talk about next week too. I mean, we got RFAs to talk about. We got I'm moving half the sheet to next week.
Yeah.
I spent too much time thanking all the people who got us to 400, but in the words of Cole Beasley, sorry, not sorry. 80 stings of pain, the United hate of America, all that bullshit. All right. Real quick, we got the playoff matchups. I'm going to buzz through these real quick. I just want to know who interests you and who your favorites are. So I'm going to just buzz through them, and then we can just backtrack on those. We got the Leafs versus Senators, Lightning Panthers, Capitals Canadiens, Hurricanes Devils, Jets Blues, Stars Avs, Golden Knights Wild, Kings Oilers. Gambler's Corner over here, the odds, at least according to one unnamed gambling site right here. Panthers are most favored at plus 650. Then you got the Avs at 700, Stars 720, Knights 750, Oilers 950, Lightning 950, Jets 950, Hurricanes plus 1,000, Capitals plus 1,000, Leafs plus 1,100, and then everybody else has not got good odds at all. Those are the real contenders, or the first half that I read there, though. And the Capitals, who were the second best team in the NHL this year, have plus 1,000 odds to win it, which I guess Vegas knows something, because those are not, it's very good odds if you're gambling on them, but that means that they are not expecting them to go all the way.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting them to go all the way either. And in fact, I wouldn't be entirely shocked if they blew it in the first round against the scrappy Montreal Canadiens.
I could see it. I really could see it. And like, so much of this season for the Caps was like, get Ovechkin to the Gretzky record. Like, let's get, like, they were playing for something all season, and that was it. And now granted, that's not to say that they didn't want to make the playoffs. Of course they fucking did. But like, now that, like, so much of the magic of this Capital season revolved around Ovechkin breaking that record. Now that it's over, like, do they feel deflated? I don't know. I'm taking Montreal in that series.
Yeah, I'm taking Montreal too. I also love Leafs Senators because you get the jilted Flyers matchup right there with Scott Laughton and Claude Giroux. And for the most part, Scott Laughton's been a horrible disappointment with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but he did just score an overtime winner for them in the last game. Locker room seems to be already endeared to Scooty Lutz, and why wouldn't you be? Because he's a delight. I'm curious about this series here. I think the Leafs have this for sure. But
I'm going to be pulling for Ottawa because of Giroux, but I think Toronto wins.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think it goes 7, though.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I mean, Toronto, it always goes 7, right?
Yep, it always goes 7, and I think Brady Tkachuk is just going to be a terror. I mean, I feel like he's going to gain. He already gained a shitload of fans from the Four Nations tournament. I think he's going to gain. I think he's going to be an absolute rock star in this series. From start to finish.
Them old Tkachuk boys out there, they're a real menace.
They're the best. I love them both.
Is the other Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, going to be back for the Lightning Panther series?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. I mean, I think the Panthers should win that regardless, but that's going to be a good one. I mean, the Lightning, they're a damn good hockey team.
I'm actually taking Tampa because I bet against Tampa at the beginning of the season. I didn't think they were even going to make the playoffs at the beginning of the season, honestly. Dumb belief by me. I don't know why I thought that. I'm never betting against Tampa again. They're still really fucking good. They still have Vasilevsky. They still have Hedman. They got Gensel. They got Point. They got fucking Kucherov. They're still incredible. I'm taking Tampa.
And Canes Devils, you got to take the Canes. I mean, the Devils don't have Jack Hughes. They suck. Devils suck.
Yeah,
can't say it enough.
Canes in 4.
Jets Blues. I mean, you got to think the Jets, who were by far the best team in the NHL, they were just unbelievable this year. The Blues barely got in. They won the tiebreaker over the Flames by one more regulation win, which was brutal for the Flames, I'm sure. I mean, I'd be very surprised if the Jets blew this, but the Blues, they had a really good second half.
The Blues had a good second half, and the Jets are like known for choking in the first round. Like they've lost in the first round, I think, each of the last 2 years.
That's why they're plus 950.
Exactly. But I think this year is different. I think this is a better Jets team than we've seen in a long time. So I'm going to take the Jets in this series.
Hell yeah. I'm going Jets as well. The last one. Knights Wild. You know the Wild from your days covering them.
Yeah.
I think you know the Wild better. You think the Wild pull this one out? Probably not, right?
No, not at all. Vegas in 5.
Vegas in 5. And Vegas, I mean, this team's been there. This team's done that. This is a playoff team.
Listen, the Wild have Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek back. I still don't think that's enough. I think Vegas is way deeper. I think they're way better. And I think they're a buzzsaw. And I feel like people aren't talking enough about Vegas, which is crazy because like they're one of the most, if not the most consistently awesome teams in the entire league every year. I think Vegas is going to run away with it. I want the Wild to be, I want to believe in the Wild. I've wanted to believe in the Wild since I covered them. I just fucking can't.
Well, we need the Wild to get embarrassed. So they're like, we got to change something up. We got to trade this Marco Rossi.
Yeah, we got to trade him to the Flyers. He's the problem.
Exactly.
That's what needs to happen.
He's the problem. It's him. Trade us Marco Rossi, please. And thank you. Well, listen, Gambler knows that Vegas is pretty damn good because they have the 4th best odds at plus 750. So Vegas is right up there. They've got better odds than the Edmonton Oilers, who were just in the Stanley Cup final last year. They're plus 950. They're playing the LA Kings, who they actually finished below in the standings this year.
Kings in 7.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like the Kings. They're a deep team, and the fact that Kopitar still plays like that at his age is disgusting.
It's really wild, yeah. And dude, like Quentin Byfield is turning it on at like the best time. Like he had not the best start to the season, and then over the last like month and a half or something, he just went on a rampage. And like that one-handed goal that he scored where he like had the one-handed deflection and then just like shoveled it in with his one, like dude is amazing. He's a beast. So
I'm almost sad that he turned it on because I was hoping they'd give up on him and trade him to the Flyers.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing. Yeah. But yeah, he's a special player, and that's a good team. That's going to be an interesting matchup if they advance. So finally, the most insane first round matchup. I cannot believe this is happening in the first round. This should be the Western Conference final. The Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. Ridiculous. I could see either team, whoever wins this matchup might win the cup.
So I'm taking the Avs in 5.
Ooh, in 5. That is spicy, my friend.
I know that Miro Heiskanen he's banged up. That's a problem. Jason Robertson is out week to week. So, I mean, and I know, listen, I know the Stars are also getting Tyler Seguin back. I'm not betting against Nathan MacKinnon. I'm not doing it.
Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar. Cale Makar's had an unbelievable year.
Marty Necas is a goddamn freak.
You know what? It's fascinating.
Not Necas enough.
I really thought that Dr. T got one over on the Avs in that Rantanen trade. And you know what? I think the Avs made the right move because Necas is like a core player for them. He really ended up being that 2C that not 2C, but being just a nice addition to the top 6. He's worked out fantastic for that team. Hurricanes had to trade. They made a good trade for Rantanen, but and it was good on them for not realizing he's the guy this year, but he's not helping them in their cup push this year for a team that they're good enough. They're smart enough, but Josh Garnett, they're just not going to do it again. So, ultimately, I think the Avs did a nice job with that trade. He's worked out great for them and Makar. And yeah, you know what? I think you got me talked into it. I think the Avs are going to win that series too.
It would be wild though, if Mikko Rantanen just went on a rampage against his former team. I think that would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. I love a revenge tale. Big time into revenge. Huge fan of revenge.
Fun. I would enjoy that a lot.
Cale Makar, 92 points as a defenseman in 80 games. Just ridiculous.
The next time a defenseman wins the Hart, it's going to be Makar.
I agree. Yeah,
I think I think I picked him to win the Hart either last season or this season. I can't remember which. He's going to do it soon. I'm convinced. I think it's only a matter of time. I think he's truly one of the best defensemen I've ever seen. So.
Yeah. No, Cale Makar is unbelievable. Okay. Ultimately, who are you picking for the cup? Who are you feeling right now? It doesn't matter if it's wrong or anything, just a gut feeling. Who you say?
This is going to be maybe a hot take.
Ooh, I like a hot take.
Tampa.
Okay. I mean, hey, you got a real been there, done that. They got one of the best players in the league in Kucherov. They got one of the best goalies in the league in Vass. And they got one of the best defensemen in the league in Hedman. So
I feel like they're also kind of similar to Vegas, where it's people are just not really talking about them that much. But dude, they're good. They also
low key great signing by them with Gensel.
Gensel's been amazing for them.
Yeah. I don't think that's talked about enough either. Them getting Gensel seems like a cheat code. That's like the Eagles getting Saquon Barkley.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just, he's been such a good fit with Point and Kucherov and Hedman on that power play. And, you know what? I think the main reason why they're so good this season, Steve, Cam Atkinson. I mean,
here's the thing about Cam Atkinson. We're talking about Scott Lawton's vibes. Cam Atkinson brings some grade A vibes as well.
Excellent vibes.
I actually forget that Cam Atkinson was a Flyer because he was hurt for so long during his tenure here. But I always like the guy. That's a face you just can't hate.
Oh yeah, no, he's awesome. So yeah. I'm taking Tampa. I really am. I would frankly love to see LA win. I think that would be cool. I like LA.
LA be cool. Yeah.
They love it. I would love to see Winnipeg win. I think that would be amazing. I would love to see them go all the way and win. I just don't think they will.
Yeah. All 35 people who would show up. No, it's not 35 people. It's whatever the capacity of the stadium in Winnipeg is the number of Jets fans that are there.
Yeah. It's the entire population of Winnipeg.
I actually think if Winnipeg won, the city would get shut down and the entire population of Winnipeg would be there for the parade.
And it would also double in a year because everyone would be fucking after that game.
Well, because, but also the fact is Canada hasn't had a winner since the early 90s at this point. So, maybe people would want to be around the only winning Canadian team if that were to happen. But yeah, I like your Tampa one. I might put a couple bucks on that myself. I like that pick right there. You know what? I think you got me talking to the Avs. You want to talk about like one of the best players and best defenseman combos? They don't have the best goalie, but they have a top 3 player in the NHL, maybe top 2. And they might have 2 of the top 5 players in the NHL on that team because Cale Makar, I think, is up there.
Yeah.
McKinnon's 100% up there. McKinnon's unbelievable. Like, I would do just horrible, horrible things to have Nathan McKinnon on my team. All right. Well, I think so. Okay. Gut feeling today. You're going Lightning. I'm going Avs. Sounds good to me. Let's roll with that.
That sounds right.
And let's roll on out of this podcast, which is going on almost to Craig and Steve length at this point. But thanks again for everything, guys. Like, you are the best listeners. I love each and every one of you. Love talking to you. Love DMing you. Sorry if you've sent one I haven't gotten back to. I'm not always the best with that stuff. I have horrible anxiety about interaction sometimes. So, you know, it's just how it is. But we do really appreciate every one of you. You guys are awesome.
You guys rule. Thank you for sticking with us for all this time. Yeah, it's been so much fun. You know, I can't speak for the first however many episodes, but for the episodes I've been on, it's been great. And here's to 400 more.
Exactly. 400 years of Flyperbole right there. So, folks, thank you so much for listening. If you have any feedback for us, the best place to find us for feedback is on social media. You can find us at Blue Sky primarily because Twitter sucks ass. You can find me at Flyperbole or at SDBomb if it's for hockey purposes. Make it Flyperbole. It's Flyperbole on Instagram. It's Flyperbole over on TikTok. Quigs, where can people find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky because I am like not really on Twitter anymore.
Nor should you be.
With a Z.
Ryan Quigs with a Z, in case I cut that off by accident. So sorry, not sorry on that front. You can also find Broad Street Hockey on a number of different places. Be sure to like, rate, subscribe, wherever you might listen to podcasts, or on YouTube where, you know, hey, YouTube following has gone up dramatically. Please keep following on YouTube. Like those posts. Like. We like the likes over there. But you know, thanks to everybody at BSH. This is an awesome crew. I really, you know, love working with these people. And we're going to head on out of here. And I got a little, flashback surprise to end the show with, too. So let me cue that up while I do my Gene Hart quote. But, folks, thanks again. We'll catch you throughout the summer. And until next time, in the words of the great Gene Hart, good night and good hockey. Oh, wow. Wow. It's been a while.
Flyperbole, flip, Flyperbole. Flyperbole, flip, Flyperbole.
Hello, everybody. This is Flyperbole. It is a podcast about hockey, mostly the Flyers, but also other hockey things, like other hockey teams that play the sport of hockey. Steve, but not Steve Hartnell, and Craig, but not Craig Berube. No, this isn't all those hockey guys. These are the guys who watch the hockey sport. Yeah!
Flyperbole, flip, Flyperbole. Flyperbole, flip, Flyperbole.
Thanks to Albert for the old Flyperbole song. We don't hear it enough these days, so wanted to get that in there. Thanks again, folks. Good night and good hockey.